Well, hello, friends. My name is Eric Lambert. Welcome to the Woodpicker Studio, and welcome to my channel. Please, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and help us build this online audience so that we can get popular and reach more people, help more people. So I received a question from a good friend of mine, Barry, out in Naperville, and she wants to know what's the proper way to hold the guitar with your left hand? What's the proper way to put your hand on the neck? And, well, I guess the proper way, of course, is whatever way is comfortable for you and produces, that great, clear sound. But I do have some tips, at least, things that work for me. I've got these mutant baby hands, unlike someone like Jimi Hendrix, for instance, who had fingers about that long. And some other players that you might notice when they play, you might notice their thumb hanging out over the neck like that. Now, when I do that, I just can't reach anything. I'm not able to clear strings, and I sound like a mess. So if you have baby mutant hands like mine, or if you just have small or tiny hands in general, my suggestion is to get the pad of your thumb back, about the middle of the neck. Little difficult for me to get a camera on that, but I can tell you that, you have string 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well, the middle of the neck is about the 4th or 3rd string. Now, sometimes that thumb will creep this way. Sometimes it'll move this way towards the 2nd and 1st string. And I notice that I'm usually right around the 2nd fret on the back of the neck, if that makes any sense. For instance, when I reach over to grab my G chord, I notice that my thumb has moved all the way over around, the 2nd string from behind the neck, of course, in order for me to accomplish a couple of things. In order for my wrist to bend, and in order for my palm to come up over the fretboard. It's hard to see, but my palm is actually higher than the fretboard. Here's my palm, here's the fretboard. So I've got room between the palm of my hand and the fretboard. And of course, I'm always thinking perhaps I've got an egg or something in the palm of my hand so that I can get spider fingers. I like to call them spider fingers. And that way, I can approach and land on the fretboard, on the strings, as perpendicular as I can from the first knuckle to the fingertip. But all of that really has to do with my thumb being somewhere near the middle of the neck, about the 3rd or 4th or 3rd strings, and as far up the neck, I say up the neck, I mean this way, as about the 2nd fret. And that way, I can always take advantage of the full stretch of my fingers. Now, as soon as I let that thumb move towards the 6th string and start peeking around, well, then my fingers get shorter. And now they're going to come into those locations and they're going to be leaning. And we're going to get that type of sound as my thumb moves towards the 1st string and my wrist bends and my palm comes up. Now I'm coming into the note location as perpendicular as I can from that 1st knuckle down to the fingertip. Now, are they perpendicular? No, they're not. But they are as perpendicular as I can get them. And that allows the string on either side of any finger to have clearance and be able to ring. Now, when I move from that C chord to that G chord, I can feel the thumb on the back of the neck relocate itself. The thumb is definitely smarter on its own than I am. And it will relocate itself as long as I let it, to put itself in the best position for either the chord shape or the single note locations that I'm playing. Most importantly, you'll never see my thumb poking through like that. If I see my thumb, or if you see my thumb, tell me. But if I see my thumb, then I know I'm not getting as much length out of my fingers as I could be if I had my thumb in a good place. Even if I'm playing single notes, you'll never see my thumb. If I'm playing bar chords, you'll never see my thumb. And you'll always see me in this spider finger type of position. And that comes from this exercise, where I've trained the fingers on my left hand to be in this shape, these distances apart, always in position to play the fret underneath it. Now, in this case, as I'm playing my single notes, you'll notice that my hand isn't up high like that anymore. But it does have a dome. I can put my egg in there. And it's away from the neck. I'm not touching the neck with any part of my hand, which is what happens when you do the kind of baseball bat thing. Now you're just touching the neck all over the place, and it makes it really difficult. So, do these things work for everybody? I don't know about that, but I do know that if you're challenged with what I would consider a small hand, small fingers, something. They're not Hendrix fingers. You know, last week I talked about the Woodstock movie, and let me tell you, looking up at that big screen, watching Hendrix, you know, his hands were that big on the movie screen, but he was able to play notes with his thumb and with his fingers, because he just had a big hand. Other players have been well known for that type of technique. Merle Travis, Chet Atkins, of course. And I noticed some old school blues players, they just have big hands, man. Even these simple chords like, D over F sharp in the bass there. Well, I can get to that, but boy, oh boy, that's a challenge. And I notice that when I do, that elbow comes all the way up to give my thumb, a fighting chance just to get there. So what's the best way to apply your left hand to that neck? Like all things guitar, we want to be comfortable. We want things to play soft. We don't want to be gripping and grabbing and pounding our fingers into the fretboard. And in whatever manner you accomplish this, we want those fingers to be as perpendicular from the first knuckle to the fingertip as we can get them, so that the adjacent strings will ring clean and clear. That kind of thing. And I've learned that I don't try to put my thumb anywhere. I'll start it in the middle of the neck, but then I'll let it go and let it do what it needs to do, to accommodate whatever shape or whatever position or whatever location on the neck I happen to be playing on. So Barry, I hope that helps you. I hope that helps other people out there. Again, please like, please subscribe. Eric Lambert is my name. I love you all. Have fun, play guitar. We'll see you again next week.